Good morning. Welcome to Pastor John's Fireside Chat. It is Thursday, June 24th. 6 months from today, we will be gathered in the Lord's house on Christmas Eve to celebrate the Lord. And if that doesn't pick up your spirits, I don't know what will. But let me give it a shot with a reading from Lamentations, a kind of diametrically opposed. Christmas Eve joy and Lamentations. And yet in the Lamentations of Jeremiah, there's this wonderful promise that is addressed to people who are going through difficult times. Starting at verse 22. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I say to myself, the Lord is my portion, therefore I will wait for him. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. And I share that reading with you because this coming Sunday, it is the designated Old Testament reading. And it's written to people who are really in the midst of chaotic times. Back when Jeremiah first wrote that, and it was in the late 500s, and Jerusalem was being ransacked by the Babylonians. It started originally in 605, and then later a second wave came in 597, and then Jerusalem was completely leveled by the Babylonians in 586. And it's in the midst of all this chaos, all this destruction, that Jeremiah reminds the people that God reigns. You know, a lot of people are saying that we're in such turbulent times right now, and we are. It's kind of chaotic, more chaotic than it has been in most of my life. And yet through it all, God continues to be in control. I was reading from one of my favorite authors, and this is what he said. Lift up your eyes. Don't get lost in your troubles. Dare to believe that good things will happen. Dare to believe that God was speaking to you when he said, in everything, God works for the good of those who love him. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. The mind cannot at the same time be full of God and full of fear. He will keep in perfect peace all those who trust in him, whose thoughts turn often to the Lord. Isaiah 26. Are you troubled, restless, sleepless? Then rejoice in the Lord's sovereignty. I dare you, I double dog dare you to expose your worries to an hour of worship. Your concerns will melt like ice on a July sidewalk. Now, he mentions about the sovereignty of God. What is that? Well, we know sovereignty. It means that God is king. And yet I love how he puts it. Sovereignty is the term the Bible uses to describe God's perfect control and management of the universe. He preserves and governs every element. He is continually involved with all created things, directing them to act in a way that fulfills his divine purpose. How do we deal with anxiety? It is by focusing on the God who sits on the throne. God has never been unseated. He continues to rule, and he will always rule. And what he does with our best interest in mind. And so my encouragement to you, especially if you're troubled right now, you're losing sleep, you're consumed with anxiety, is to remember that there is a God who reigns, but more than that, there is a God who reigns, who is madly in love with you, and he uses his power, his sovereign rule, for your good. Even though we don't always understand how it works out, we trust that God really does love us because he's proven his love for us through the death and resurrection of his Son, Jesus Christ. Have a great day in the Lord.